and welcome back to another video. So, yes, I can't believe I haven't done this already. So last year, 2025, from 2026, I got into a real fervent phase of collecting for the Neo Geo CD. Even though I don't have a Neo Geo CD, I have a Polymega that plays all the games on it. Nice. So, yeah, I figured I'd come in here and I'd go over my top 10 games. So I've got about 20-something. I'll forewarn you, no fighting games. There are none. There are no fighting games on here, unfortunately. But we'll start with the beginning. So, these are not in any particular order, I would like to point out. But I'm going to start with a couple that I actually have a history with. So, when I was younger, like a lot of people, shockingly, there was arcade machines pretty much everywhere when you were born in the 90s. So for me, every single Friday, we would go swimming, or more accurately, my brother, well, my family, my siblings would go swimming, and I would not, because I'd done the swimming lessons. I didn't really need to do more of them, to be honest. I can swim, so it. So my hair is an absolute tip today. But while they were there, I'd be bored out of my absolute tiny little mind, and I would go and just basically stare at the arcade machines, occasionally borrowing £1 here and there to actually play them. But they had a Neo Geo cabinet, and that Neo Geo cabinet had 2 games in it. Well, maybe 3, we'll see. But the major ones were Puzzle Bobble, which I was sort of obsessed with. The idea of this small dragon thing creating bubbles to solve puzzles and stuff. So I picked it up. The other one was either Metal Slug 1 or Metal Slug 2. I'm not actually sure which, to be frank, because it was nearly 30 years ago. It was a very long time ago. When this was happening, well over a quarter of a century, so I can't quite remember. But Puzzle Bobble and both of these in particular, these are repro discs. I'm not spending like upwards of £2 on either of these because it's just ridiculous. Puzzle Bobble, sort of the same thing as is another game that I'll get to in a minute. So these are reproductions, just because they're just too expensive, but they work on the Polymega, so yay. But Puzzle Bobble, in particular, I love this game. It's really good. It's a really fun puzzle game. I know there's more Puzzle Bobble games as well. I'm sure there are more. Well, would there be more on the Neo Geo? I'm not entirely sure. But that was kind of one of the major ones I really wanted to get, as well as Metal Slug 1 and 2. So I've actually got 3 on the original Xbox somewhere. I think it's 3, or it's the Anthology, one of the two. But yeah, I kind of had to pick up Neo Geo's very classic run and gun shooter series. They did up till 4 on the AES, which is the... Was it the AES? Yeah, so you've got basically 3. You've got 3 types of Neo Geo hardware that is in the handheld. You've got the Neo Geo CD, which had a good number, but not all. Not all of the games. You also had sort of the arcade hardware, which you can now buy the cartridges for, which is really cool. I'm actually debating on getting a consoleized version, just so I can play it. That'd be kind of sick. And then there was the AES, or the AGS. I think it's AES. That's the cartridge version. So Metal Slug went up to 4. Potentially 5, I could be wrong, but went up to at least 4 on the original Neo Geo hardware, which is really sick. So yeah, big fan of those two. Big fan of Puzzle Bobble. Really good game. The other repro, yeah, this is one I'm not spending £1 on. I'm not spending £1 on this game, even though I think it's really good, and that's Neo Turf Masters. Now, I really like Neo Turf Masters, and here's the thing. I'm not a golfer. I don't like golf. I find it really boring, but This game, looks amazing, by the way. Looks astounding. Looks really, really good. Especially the sprite work. And that's one thing I really love about the Neo Geo in general, is the sprite work they do. So in this, it's particularly impressive. There's also the fact that just in general, it kind of makes golf fun. Which is crazy. However, the game is like $1,000. It's like $1,000. Or $2,000, or $1,500. It's crazy. For a game about golf. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this is brilliant, but I'd rather pay like £4.50 for a freaking reproduction disc than actually spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a fucking golf game. It's absolutely insane. If I was going to spend grand's worth on anything, it would be a Nintendo 64 disc drive. But hey, when I win the lottery, who knows? So yeah, no, Neo Turf Masters, heartily recommend. Really, really good game. Right, we're now into the actual games. So the actual games I actually physically own, and what do I genuinely think about all of these? What do I genuinely think about all of these? There are, I'd say 3. Yeah, I'd say 3. There's 3, my top 3 we'll get to. But we've got about 6 left on this list. Shocky docky. So, starting with Magician Lord. Yeah, Magician Lord is fucking hard, man. It's crazy difficult. It's bloody fucking hard. But, you know, I really, really like it. Again, fantastic sprite work. Really good side-scrolling platformer for the Neo Geo. This is the Japanese version because whatever one you stick in the Neo Geo, it will just auto-translate it if you set it to, like, North America. So, okay, whatever. Yeah, this game is really good. This game is really good. I'm very, very bad at it. So what I like about the Neo Geo is you can just kind of shove in 1 billion credits and you can beat these games within, like, a few hours, which I have done to my top 2, but we'll get to that. Magician Lord is not one of those, so that just makes it very hard to play. Because I'm shit at old arcade platformers. I'm awful. I'm absolutely hot trash. But I really like its vibe. I love its vibe. I love its opening artwork. I think that looks fantastic. I love the fact you turn into a fucking dragon. That's just cool, man. That's just cool. I'm a big fan of games where you're allowed to shift. Forms and stuff. Including, funnily enough, Shifters for the PS2. Yeah, shift into 24 characters. I even like that. Or Primal. Primal was good. Dosh and the Giant lets you do that as well. But this is sort of a classic 16-bit one that just works in that favour. Don't know if it's I mean, like, a lot of these I got actually cheaply. I got them cheaply. It's kind of when they cropped up last year. I went, mine, gimme. But yeah, they were very expensive, and this was quite a lot. I think this was the last Neo Geo game I bought for a while. Apart from, I think, the Neo Geo CD special, but other than that, yeah, this is probably one of the more expensive ones in my collection. I think that was about 120, which for Magician Lord is cheap as shit, considering I've seen it go for like 200 quid, so whatever. Next up, this is a weird game. And it sort of fits into my top 2. But the reason I like this so much is the Super Spy. Now, the Super Spy is a first-person shooter / 3D brawler, kind of like Tolero Boxer on the Virtual Boy of all fucking things. That's really what it reminds me of, or kind of like Virtua Cop. It's probably got more in common with Virtua Cop, but yeah, you're basically this cool dude here. You're this cool guy in the 90s doing, like, fighting crime and whatever in your tank top. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. And it can be quite difficult, but I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's definitely worth giving a play. The reason I'm not really including any fighting games on here is because I'm really shit at them. I'm really shit at fighting games, and what attracted me to the Neo Geo wasn't the fighting games. It wasn't even the sports games, and that's basically its entire library. It's the weird shit. Like Magician Lord. That's weird fucking game. Puzzle Bobble's pretty weird. A lot of this stuff is very particularly niche. And it's kind of like if 3D graphics are never really taken off, like would shooters look like this? It's very clearly 2D. It's very blatant in its 2D-ness, and no, man, that's just interesting. I mean, in a way, it's sort of like the weird... You know what it's like? It's like a weird missing link between something like, say, Terminator 2, the arcade game, which is just like a light gun, and Wolfenstein. Now, bearing in mind, Wolfenstein, when you look at it, you wouldn't think so, but it is actually 2D. Everything is rendered in 2D. You know, let's just do that. There we go. Hair looks like shit. Always looks like shit. I need a haircut. But yeah, this is like a weird sort of missing link hybrid of the two, and that's sort of why I just kind of had to buy it. I just really genuinely was like, I need that. Fuck it. So yeah, Super Spy, really good. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of side-scrolling or either vertically or horizontally shooters necessarily. I do have... I can't remember its name. Viewpoint, whatever the fuck it's called on here. But my actual favourite shooter is Ninja Commandos. Yeah, ninjas were all the rage in the early 90s. They fucking were. Ninja Turtles everywhere. But this is fun. It's got probably more in common with Game Ground or sort of or like the Chaos Engine. It's more of a, you know, your little character is following along a set route where you're sort of going vertically up. And the difference here is you actually throw out like ridiculously huge attacks, unlike those games where they're like little titty shitty pellets. In this, you're throwing out like fire dragons. So, okay, I've actually beaten this. It's very much one of those games where the Neo Geo has a problem with this, especially in some of its earlier titles, in that they are just straight up arcade ports. That means that all you really have to do for the bulk of these is to just throw practically infinite money. You're just throwing an infinite number of credits, so as a result, a lot of these games are really short, because that's how they got you in the 90s and the 80s. It was just very small amounts of content. Like, these games would be like 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe. But it would make it really fucking difficult, so that it would drain you of quarters or pennies or whatever the shit they used back then. But as a result, you can put infinite credits in and beat the game really fucking easily, which is great. So yes, oopsie. That's my top two. Number three, Windjammers. Yeah, or Flying Power Disc, as it's known in Japan. I kind of wanted it. I wanted the American version, so that it would be called Windjammers. But that's like 200 quid. This was like 80, so bought this version instead. And you know what? It plays perfectly fine. It's really good. It is really genuinely really good. I really, really like this. I would heartily recommend it, because it's just basically like, I don't know. It's a weird combination of badminton, tennis, and frisbee. And it's really fun. I'm really shit at it, but it's really, really fun. I want to say, I could be horribly wrong, because I don't speak Japanese, but I think you can play two-player. I think you can play two-player on a number of these games, to be fair. Especially my top three. I could be horribly wrong. I think I'd have to probably track down the Wikipedia article about Windjammers, but love this game. Really, really good. My last two. And I'm going to be honest with you. These games are both they're very similar, but at the same time, they're very different. And I kind of like both of them for different reasons, and that is Crosswords 1 and Crosswords 2. I think Crosswords 1 just has a better artwork, to be fair, than Crosswords 2. 2's is not particularly amazing. But these games are fucking brilliant. They are 3D arcade action RPGs where you and a friend can actually go toe-to-toe, or, sorry, you're working in co-op, through a series of missions to save the kingdom. and you're a powerful knight, and then there's a big titty lady in the second game, because of course there is. I think this actually... So, this game, you're just a knight, it's very simple, it's very straightforward, but I think that's where its strengths lie. 2 added a lot more to the RPG element. So you can play as a ninja, you can play as the knight, and you can play as the big titty dancer lady, because of course you can. Because, you know, sexualizing women in the 90s just goes hand in hand with basically every arcade game. Yay. But never mind. Not the end of the world. However, I think what this adds is... It adds a story, it adds a more robust single-player experience. When you get down to it, there's more to it. This is more simple, but I'd actually argue it's more fun as a result. It's more about learning the patterns, it's more about recognizing the danger and the trouble you're in, and I just kind of prefer the artwork. I think Cross Swords 1 looks better. 2's good, though. 2 is really good. It's definitely... It's hard for me to judge sort of which one I like more. I mean, I like the story and I like the... Story. It's not much of a story, but I like the attempt. I like the more in-depth systems with 2, but I think 1's arcadey nature really actually lends itself to a better playing experience. But hey, what do I know? I don't have a lot of experience with Neo Geo outside of the Neo Geo CD, so who's to say? But yeah, that's me done for another week. I actually have one more top 10 planned, because I did the Jaguar one a few weeks ago, which the Jaguar and I have had a falling out. It's now behind there, because it's pissed me off one too many times. But I will be doing a top 10 PS3 games, because I've never done that, which is surprising, considering I've bought quite a few games for that lately, but to be fair, I haven't played it in about 6 years, so... Yeah, I think I'll be busting out the PlayStation 3 to play a lot of shit at some point soon, once I'm kind of done with the GameCube. But yeah, that's me done for another week. We may do a game pickups video next time. We'll see. I picked up some cool stuff. Primarily a couple of repros I actually really want to talk about. But yes, until then, have a lovely week, and I will see you next time.